Thank you.
Welcome, everybody, or almost everybody. Good to see you back. And we have another amazing, I think, workshop for you today. This is a skill that is, if you've ever been in like marriage counseling or mediation or anything like that, this is the skill. This is the one. And so, as you can imagine, it's especially useful. And it's also not one that's used very as much as we need to in our society or in science, and that is listening. So, let's see. So, yeah, my apologies for sending the video so late, and I know a couple of you need to watch it or want to watch it. But in any case, without further ado, I'm going to pass it over to Adriana, and maybe perhaps if you have any questions about next week, you can either ask at the end or email me or something like that. But anyway, we're super excited to have you here in person. I mean, together in person. So Adriana, go ahead.
Thank you. Speaking of in person, would you please unmute yourselves, look alive, and say hi to your colleagues and friends. Hey, hello, everybody.
Hi,
everybody.
Happy Tuesday. Speaking about looking alive, thank you so much for answering the feedback. As you've seen, hopefully you've noticed that we read it and we paid attention and we sent you information about today's class last week. We still have our kinks and things that happen, but we're trying to smooth those. And someone actually was very happy that I was highlighting the importance for us to be here and not be a black square, because it really feels more like a community. And again, people complain about Zoom, but it really is, I don't mind Zoom at all. It is really what we make it to be. So if we show up as a black square, that's our contribution to the group. But if we show up as someone who's there and I'm going to be smiling, you don't have to be smiling, but I'm, like being present, being active, being open, however that is, that's very helpful for the energy of the group. So thank you so much, everybody, for having your video on. We are going to start. So this is what we're doing today. Let me see where it is. There it is. So practicing listening as leaders in STEM. So what I would like to do first, is there someone here who was not present last time? Okay, thank you. Erin and William and Austin, welcome, welcome. That is awesome. So I'm going to go through the invitation that I extended last time. So you're kind of like on the same page with us around, certain agreements and things that we are saying that we would like for the space to be. So of course, I will say this 20 times. Keep the video on if it's possible. Minimize distractions, again, if it's at all possible. I understand if you're at home and you have dogs, cats, spouses, children walking around, that's our new normal, so that's totally fine. But if you're thinking that you're going to be, completing the emails that you have to do right now in this space, I would discourage you from doing that. So stay as present as you can, please. We talked about participating at your comfort level +1, and what that means is that however you are today, like feeling, yeah, I want to participate. That's awesome. Someone is going to be, well, I'm going to observe and see what happens. So it's totally fine how we're showing up into the space. And my invitation is that you actually do +1, or kind of like get only 10% into your discomfort zone, like get out of your comfort zone and participate. If you usually don't participate, just ask one question, just make one comment, just type in the chat what you're thinking, even if you were like, no, I'm not going to type it in the chat. So that is for those of you who tend to be more observant, more reflective, more letting the scene compose itself without you. So I invite you to get into it. And then on the other hand, for those of you who participate, who are readily available to participate, that is lovely, and I really can use your energy. We can all use your energy. And the invitation is not for you to not participate, please understand this, but just to, as you feel I'm going to raise my hand right away, just count 10 seconds, just to see if there's someone else who was, who needs more time to raise their hands. So the invitation is that, again, that you still participate, but maybe just slow yourself down just a little bit, to be open to learning. A lot of times we go to workshops and we are like, yeah, I know that. So the opportunity here is like, okay, and am I putting it into practice? How can I see this from a new perspective? Being willing to learn about yourself. The truth is that self-awareness is really what makes us be great leaders. So anything that happens here, just take it as data for yourself, like, oh, that's how I react. Oh, that's how I think. And how do I take it to the next level? Respect where your classmates are in terms of, remember that we are not all in the same place of learning of these things that we are doing. We're not culturally, we're not in the same place. Some of us are from different cultures. Okay, we haven't gone there. How many of us, me included, were not raised and born in the United States? I'm curious. Let's see if I have. Okay, so we have a few folks who are actually even from somewhere else. So we, taking that into account, that some of us, English is not even our first language. Take care of your needs. This is going to be an hour and a half only. So I'm not going to stop for a break, but if you need a break, please take it. If you need to refill the water, the tea, any biofunction that you need to take care of, just go ahead and do that. Don't turn off your camera, because that way I know that you're not there. And sometimes I even slow down a little bit for the person who left the room. It just, for me, I manage the whole group. So it would be lovely if you just let me see what's happening and that you didn't have a heart attack or something. Keeping confidentiality, very key to our time together as a group, creating a cohesive cohort of people who are going to be together also in person. Just to remember that we want to have conversations, knowing that people are not going to be repeating what we said. What, like I don't want for, what Adriana told us, like when she was little, blah, blah, blah. Only, the learning is to be, shared out with people. These are the things that we learned, but who said what, we prefer to keep it here, here between us. And also the last point, refrain from giving advice and solving other people's problems unless they ask. If you're in a breakout room or with a parent, say, I have this situation, and what do you think? And then, what would you suggest? Then that is a true invitation to get into that situation and start tinkering with it. So let me see, can I see thumbs up and a show of hands or the reactions that we're still willing and able to follow that to the best of our abilities? Thank you, you all. Continuing. So we are going to talk about the questions. Again, thank you so much for the feedback. There was a section where I asked, what questions do you still have? So I'm actually going to address those questions briefly. We can talk. We're going to talk on Wednesday. I'm going to be there Wednesday and Thursday next week. So I'm very excited about this. So we can continue the conversation, but I'm going to briefly tell you my quick reaction to your question. We're going to finish the vision statement segment. Well, finish. We're going to continue with that. And then we're going to work on listening. And this is going to be a skill development session where we practice acknowledging and validating. So questions from last session. Someone asked, what are practices I can do in my daily life to work towards a leader disposition? And I'm assuming that your 5 characteristics, those are the ones in the vision statement. So I'm going to go with that just as an example, but if it's something else, that's fine. The way, one way I would suggest you can practice what you can do. Let's say that one of your 5 characteristics is curiosity. The first thing I would do is, okay, what does curiosity mean to me? So that you have clear what is that characteristic. And then I would say, in what situations do I do it? Again, I'm sticking with curiosity. In what situations am I curious? And in what situations I'm not curious? So, okay, curiosity for me means that I'm interested in other people, in what they have to say, what they think, and their experiences. So I'm noticing that I'm not curious when we're in a meeting and we're planning for a budget and people ask, people say their opinions. I realize that I don't ask questions. Like, I bring my opinion on top of that, but I actually don't say, so Marcela, could you please elaborate, or where did you get that conclusion from, or what else can you say, or or whatever it was that Marcela said in the meeting. So I'm like, okay, today, what are practices? So for curiosity, what I'm going to do today to practice my curiosity is I'm going to ask 2 questions in the morning of someone and 2 questions in the afternoon. So when I see Robert in the hallway or when we're talking, I'm going to ask Robert a curious question. And of course, right now I really don't know you all and I don't know what you say, but let's say that Robert and I are in the same team. So I can say, hey, Robert, last time we met, you mentioned that you were applying for this grant. How is it going? What is it doing? Or when will you, like, something that is curious and I get to know, I get to develop that skill. So whatever the skill is, the idea is that you define it, what it means to you, maybe rate it on a scale from 1 to 10, how curious I am, how generous, how authentic. And then knowing what it means to you, the question is, what are practices I can do in my daily life? Depending on what it is, then you tell yourself, today intentionally, I'm going to practice this in these ways. So we can talk more about it. I hope it's helpful. It is kind of like a generic question because it just says 5 characteristics, but we actually intentionally say, today I'm going to be generous. So even if that means I'm going to bring my colleague William a cup of coffee when I come back from Starbucks. So I'm actually going to start doing it. Next question. And I'll stop at the end of the questions to see what thoughts come up for you. How do I feel confident enough to feel like a leader, not just in paper? Well, developing the skills, figuring out, there are different ways. Like really, you can keep actually taking sessions. Like there's also at NCAR and UCAR, there's the LEAD program that develops even more your leadership skills. There's the Leadership Academy, for which actually you need to be recommended, I think. I actually teach in both, but you can also take coaching, leadership coaching. Even before you take those other steps, for you to recognize with your vision statement again, if you take on those characteristics and you say, I'm going to strengthen those, and then I'm going to do this other thing, and then I'm going to do this other thing. Remember that leadership, friends, is not just the position that you carry. And actually, let's see, I'll get to that. There's another question. How do details like management skills affect leadership? When we're bogged with the management skills, and it's like, it may affect leadership, that it may actually take us away from visioning. So if someone is in management, I mean, I would need to hear more. What were you thinking when you asked the question? Management skills can actually help us, in your leadership position. If you're bogged down by management, that actually takes away from your capacity maybe to be as creative and as a visioning person that you want to be. But skills always, any skill can always help for any situation or any position. Now, as an early career for the vision statement, what if you don't know where you want to go? Oh, this is what I wanted to say. And you're still exploring. It doesn't matter. For your vision statement, we were not doing it as, as the person, as the principal investigator in my lab. This is how I'm going to show up. Remember that leadership is by disposition. You don't need to have a particular position in place for you to think, oh, that's how I want to show up. So if you don't know what leadership position you have, but you just know that as you're taking this class, you're in this program, so it follows that you want to be an effective and a good leader. So what would that mean to you, even if you don't know where you want to go? Because what you know is that you want to be a great leader. So that's more than enough. You don't need to have a position for that. How to leverage leadership skills in my interactions with others? By practicing them right then and there. Today we're going to be talking about acknowledging and validating, and I'm going to ask you to practice the heck out of those skills from now to Tuesday when you all get together. So just use others as leverage actually to improve your leadership skills, because you can always use them and you don't need permission to be a leader. You just are. All this sounds like very conceptual and stuff, but we're going to stop, and I am going to give you time to ask questions or react to what I'm saying. How can I bring the resonance to the group if I'm having a bad day? Ah, my gosh, such an interesting question. This is where self-awareness is really important. So if I know that I'm having a bad day and that I'm actually going to bring the resonance down into the team, before going into work, or, once I got there, if you're actually physically there, you take a walk, you do something that that is actually going to put you in a right frame of mind. And if that's not possible, let's say that I'm going to meet with Val, I just had a Zoom meeting with someone, and that got me into a bad mood. I may actually say, hey, Val, I'm sorry, but I'm in a bad mood right now. I don't mean to bring the energy down, but right now I'm struggling. So there's two ways that I'm inviting you to do is actually take care of yourself, do something, go and do some jumping jacks, get that energy out. That's one. And the other one, if you cannot do any of that, you can definitely let people know, I'm sorry, but today, I'm not at my best. And a lot of times when you express that and say that, and you receive, and when people receive you, that may actually help you to turn the bad mood around. And of course, there are skills and things that you can do to weaken that bad mood and strengthen more of the positive side. But this is not the place to talk about that right now. More strategies for being effective at motivating a team. Teams get motivated by the resonance of the person, the resonance of the group. Remember, we talked about the emotional contagion. Teams get motivated by actual positivity. And this is not like a positivity that is blind positivity, but like really having an optimism that moves people forward, along with realism. Again, sometimes people is like, oh, that person is so positive and is such an optimist that they are not aware of the realities of the world. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about someone who has worked with herself or themselves or himself, and they can actually have that high energy resonance that is actually motivating. You may need to be for a leader, you may need to have also coaching skills. And this is something that maybe one day Val, you and I can talk about, like to include how to bring coaching skills for you so you can actually coach others. And two coaching skills that you may need to motivate others: acknowledging and validating, because listening is very important. So we're actually starting today giving you skills for you to motivate someone. I'll talk about that maybe if it comes up later when we start talking about listening. But if someone is having a bad day, energy low, bad mood, whatnot, or something happened, and that person is acknowledged and validated in their experience, that actually helps them to move out of their funk. I'm definitely going to say this again. And that can be motivating. There's other skills like you saying, yes, Marcela, you can do this, you go. And, like there are other coaching skills that you can do. And Val, let's make a mental note to think about how to share coaching skills. How to improve at specific leadership skills. That actually has to do, I think I already answered it. Choose what specific leadership skills you want to improve. What do you, how do you understand those skills to be? What are they? And literally, if you want to be open-minded, next time you go to a restaurant or when you're at home and someone says, oh, do you want to try my zucchini with curry? And your reaction is no, you're like, no, I'm practicing being open-minded. I'm going to say yes. You see what I'm saying? Hey, do you want to go for a walk? No, I don't feel like going for a walk right now. I'm practicing being open-minded and saying yes. I'm going to go. It's the little things, like there are micro practices that we can do. We think that it may need to, okay, I'm now going to do this, like this huge thing. No, it's the little practices that get our habits in the system, in the circuitry of our neurons. We do a little thing, and we're carving that path. And then it becomes easier for us to go on that path. How to achieve the attributes I aspire to have. It's very similar. Figure out first what attributes you aspire to have, and then practice them. Okay, my friends. Questions, reactions, comments? Maybe someone, if you asked a question and I totally not answered it and I went in a very different direction, this would be a moment to clarify what you meant.
Feel free to use the chat as well.
What did you get out of my answers? What was something that actually you heard me that it was like, oh, it's starting to sound repetitive, but what is the main message to you? Sophia.
I think the main message for me is a lot of trying to be a leader is being committed to personal growth. I mean, that's kind of the biggest, just choosing a thing you want to work on and working on it.
Yes. Thank you, Sophia. And you know, the word that you use, like the choosing, that slide that I sent you about characteristics that we all can be, I don't know, it has like 50 different words, but we need to be choosy, as in discerning. Thank you, Sophia. Like right now, I want to work on my curiosity or my generosity or my vulnerability. It gets so diffused if we choose 27 things to work on because we don't even know where to start. And if you remember, I said, oh, choose 10 things. And then I'm like, well, no, now scratch 5. Is that choosing, Sophia, that being intentional? I'm so glad you used that word. Thank you. Any other? Okay. I'm going to move on, but if something comes up, please feel free. So last Tuesday, we worked on your vision statement. We did an exercise. Remember, I asked you to stand up and raise a leg, and then I asked you to, with your leg raised, to close your eyes. And a lot of us actually lost our balance, or, yes, our balance decreased. as we closed our eyes. And what I was suggesting is that the vision statement is like that light in the lighthouse. It tells us where we want to go, but it also gives us direction when we fall off the wagon. Like I read to you my vision statement for as a facilitator, and it has curiosity there. And sometimes I'm not curious. Sometimes I realize that someone asks me a question, and instead of asking more questions to get to know where they're coming from, I just, ooh, something is happening with is that my camera? Do you see that? Is that me? Goodness. Something very weird just happened.
I think that I thought this was going to change my view, but I'm assuming it changed everybody's.
Something is happening that is very weird. Was that you, Val?
It was. I'm sorry, I thought I was changing my own view. But it's sort of cool because you can see both the screen and everybody.
Oh, wow, that was funny. Actually,
Sorry.
it's okay. So anyway, so when we have what we have in our vision statement, that it doesn't mean that we are always like that. We sent you the 6 P's. Personal is really it's about you and how you can influence others. In the present tense, not a conditional future. Positive, it's a way you're committed to rather when you're not. So instead of I'm not going to be impatient, we want to say I am patient. It's alive to you. It's exciting. For me, to put in my vision statement that I organized, that is not exciting. I know that as a skill, being organized is good. Like it's helpful for so many things. I become more efficient, but that is not going to go on how I want to show up, because what really gets me going, my goosebumps, is to show authentic and vulnerable and generous. Those are the things that actually have me be passionate. So that's what we mean. And purpose is about the bigger picture of your intention. So when we were talking about personal, it's about you. It is and it's not, because it is about you, how you're going to impact others and the world. And that's where the purpose comes up. How am I going to impact others? And the possibility, it's entering a world of possibility, meaning that you are not allowing your voices saying, oh no, it says there, I want to be generous, but I'm not going to put it there because I don't know if I can be generous, or I don't know if I can be vulnerable. This is we're stepping into this new us where we are actually understanding that we can be that, and we can work to be that. We can work on it. Okay. So the template, and we did show you this template as we were working on it. Like a lot of you actually, I think that by the time we were done with the session, you had your own vision statement. So the idea is at my highest and best as a leader, and whoever, just a reminder, whoever said, I really don't know where I want to go with this leadership thing, it's totally fine. This is just as a leader in general. I mean, it depends on your situation. If you already know what type of leadership you're going to be performing, if you mean a title, but it can definitely mean me as a person, as a leader, and you don't need a title to decide this. I am these 5 things so that, okay, now, Val gave me, and Val, I didn't tell you that I was going to do this, but Val gave us the beautiful example of one. You wrote one. Val, was that yours? On the email you actually shared, or did you just?
Oh yes. I think it was kind of,
Okay.
you know,
Yes.
I think
So
so.
thank you for that example. Now, what I want for everybody to do is to remove may, can, so that I may do this, or so that I can do this, or so that I will. Remove that from your vision statements, please. The idea is so that I impact, so that I support, so that my group is healthy. The communication in my group is healthy and empowering. Okay. So, is there a valiant person here who's willing to jump into that 10% of discomfort? Hold on, that's not true, not quite yet. I'm going to ask that question right after we do this thing. I'm going to put you in pairs so you actually read it. And as you read it, what the listening is for, let's say that I'm working with Austin. Austin reads it to me, and I'm like, hey, Austin, it says in the purpose, it says, so I can support my team. So you have the can there, and Austin's going to, oh, yes, I didn't. So it's edited. So and I'm going to say, so is it passionate? Does it give you goosebumps? And Austin is going to say, well, I put there organized. I'm organized. Maybe what really gives me goosebumps, but I didn't dare to put there, was vulnerable. Okay, I'm going to put now vulnerable. Ooh, good. Then I'm going to read it to him, and Austin is going to say, oh, that's awesome. But you did say, so I should do this. Oh, thank you, Austin. I delete the should. Is that clear? So we're really just reading it kind of as a way of helping edit, and just talking about it, and feeling that first step of saying it out loud. Now, why do I think that it's important to share when it feels that it's something so intimate? I think we share so many things that are intimate that are negative. Like, we maybe share our bad moods, we share when we're complaining, we share when we disagree with something. But someone was saying, how can I be inspiring? How can I motivate? You're going to see that if you actually hear the somebody else's vision statement, it is actually going to be very inspiring. And it's going to inspire us to do better and show up better. So tell me, thank you, Val. There it is. Now, look at the one that the example that Val put in the mail, and tell me what one thing, if your partner read this to you, what would be the one comment that you have? It's in the chat. Just unmute yourself.
To get rid of May.
Erin, thank
Yeah.
you. What would you say?
That she can just say, so that I inspire and support others.
Exactly. You get rid of that may. It is less powerful. Listen to this. So that I may empower, so that I may inspire, or so that I inspire. That may kind of like takes the power away from it. Okay? So this is a great example. Thank you, Val. So this is allowing us to do the this exercise. So record.
Actually,
Val,
in the-
can you make me a co-host
Oh, yes, okay.
or a host?
Yeah. And I was going to say in the breakout, you can also use the chat to paste yours. So if you want to you know, somebody maybe is more able to get it in their brain if you're sorry, if they're reading it. There you go.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, so breakout rooms, you're going to be in groups, 2 to 3 participants. Let me see. Let me see. Yes, yes, yes. Awesome. I am going to rename. No, how do I do this? Add a room. And I'm going to, Ben, send you to this last room. And Marquesi, I'm going to move you there. Okay. So this is what's going to happen. I will give you, reading is going to take you like a minute and a half. You can discuss. I'm going to give you 6 minutes, like 3 and 3, and then you can talk more about it. Whoever who's going to start, last name, alphabetical order, but this time in last name. So I'm Adriana Medina. I would not go with the A, I would go with the M because Medina is my last name. So the person who start reading, sharing the vision statement is whoever starts closest to A, B, C, like that. That's the person to start. Take no more than 3 minutes per person reading it, maybe editing it. You can also borrow. If someone says open-minded and you're like, oh, yeah, open-minded, really, I want to borrow that. You can be changing yours as you go, as you hear others. So here we go. See you in 6 minutes. Welcome back, everyone. Who found some shoots and mace and cans that still needed to be removed? Oh, okay. Oh, awesome, awesome. Okay, so this is the moment. I'm now going to, like, if it feels like deja vu, maybe it is, where I'm going to say that this is where you can practice your 10% invitation to get to the discomfort zone and read it to everybody. And you know what? If you decide that this is not the time or the place, there's no shame either. But it is an invitation for you to step up and say, you know what? I'm telling the universe and everybody in it that this is how I'm showing up. So is there someone who would be ready and willing? All you have to do is read it. I have some takers here. We'll go with Marcela and Isabel and then Kwesi. Thank you.
Okay, yes. So
No,
I wrote
Marcela, I'm
mine.
sorry. Let's just work on this a little bit. Read it slowly, because sometimes when I have people do this and then they go, blah, 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 blah. So just read it slowly so we can understand it, and then you all, if you want to just react with little parts and stuff for Marcela to cheer her on, and that's awesome. Okay, Marcela.
Okay. At my highest and best as a leader, I am confident, compassionate, authentic, kind, and perseverant so that others are drawn to work with me, allowing us all to be inspired by each other's ideas.
Thank you, Marcela. Give her a round of applause and a big thank you for getting us started. Thank you so much, Marcela. Isabel.
Okay, so at my highest and best, as a leader, I am empathetic, resilient, enthusiastic, patient, and curious so that I create a trusting, creative, and joyful environment for problem solving.
Thank you, Isabel. A nice catch there. Yes, thank you. Make sure that you edit it. Kwesi.
Okay, thank you. So mine is at my highest and best as a leader. I am visionary, resilient, effective communicator, emotionally intelligent, and have integrity so that I can have a positive impact on my team by driving innovation, ensuring resilience, and upholding integrity, which contributes not only to the team's success, but also sets a benchmark for positive impact on society and our industry at large.
Oh, wow. Let's give Kwesi a round of applause. And Kwesi, find that can that you said at the beginning of the purpose and fish it out. Did you all notice? Or was it just me? Anna, I see you go. Anna, I see you going like this. So you see what I'm saying, Kwesi? There's a can there that it's not necessary. It's like, so that I boom, whatever that boom is.
Sure.
Okay?
Okay.
Okay, friends. What to do with the vision statement? You can type it, put it next to your computer, your laptop to remind you. You can read it before you go to a meeting, before you are going to write a proposal for something. You can just like remind you. You can make it one of your screens so it shows up every once in a while. Put it on your phone, refrigerator, bathroom mirror. I'm just saying, I mean, you can do whatever you want. The idea would be that you actually read it and you let it inform yourself and how you are going to show up. Even when you go up out there and ask for that raise, read it and show up as all that in that meeting, whatever it is that you need. Okay. Kwesi, I see your hand up. Is that a new one or no? Okay, I just lowered it. So I'm going to ask you on Wednesday when we see each other, if there's someone else who would like to share it. This time it would be in public. In public, what am I saying? You know, in person. But that you'll get more opportunities in case you want to practice how it would feel. Isabel or Kwesi or Marcela, how did it feel to read it to all of us?
I feel good.
Mm-hmm. Were
I
you
think it
nervous?
feels a little bit, but it
Mhm.
also feels good to read it out loud to somebody. It feels more of a action rather than just like a reading, I don't know.
Yes. It feels more empowering.
Empowering, yes.
And there's
Mhm.
also more accountability. Like, ooh, now I said it out loud. Now I have to show up like that. Right? Like I'm trying to give you things that are actually practical, even if they may not look that way. Okay. So we're going to change to the next topic. Before we do, I want to invite you, those who are willing and able, just to stand up, stretch, touch your toes. Go on, go on. If maybe move however, like you don't have to do exactly what I'm doing. I'm just doing what feels good for my body, but just to switch the channel because in 1 minute we're moving into something else. Okay, that felt good. So we continue with listening. What are 3 words that come to mind when you hear listening or listening skills? Would you please type them in the chat? Type in the chat. Now our new topic is listening. Type in the chat 3 words that come to mind when you hear listening skills. This is just our little warm-up. Thank you, Anna, for getting us started. Erin. Thank you, William, Robert, everybody is like they're now coming. So keep them coming. 3 words. We have awareness, patience, curiosity, active, space, attention, curiosity, observance, more patience, more attentive, taking turns, empathy, patience, curiosity, open mind, deliberate, reflective, understanding, hearing, attentiveness, focus, present, curiosity, focus, more attentiveness, more patience, selflessness. Ooh, Arik, thank you. Okay. So we have all that. On a scale from 1 to 10, how good of a listener, this is a little bit of self-awareness going in, how good of a listener do you believe you are? 1 being, oh, I'm terrible. I just get so distracted. I have always asked the person to repeat what they said because I'm hard to, focus. I never pay attention. And then 10, I'm extremely good. So type it in the chat. Ooh, thank you for your honesty. I see there. Look at all those numbers coming in. Thank you. On a good day. Billy, thank you for making that distinction. Because we are present differently depending on the day. So I really appreciate that on a good day. Oh, and we even have an average Billy. Way to go. I like that. Awesome. Okay. I have another question for you, and I did not write this down. On a scale from 1 to 10, what would your colleagues say about you in terms of your listening skills? 1 thing is what you think about yourself. Oh, I'm 7, 4, 5, whatever you said. So how about your colleagues? If I were to ask your colleagues, what would they say about you? How good of a listener you are? Type it in the chat. Of course, this is hypothetical, right? We don't know, but sometimes we kind of do. We do know. Oh my gosh, that's interesting. They're coming up higher. I am not going to get into this, but if you look at what you said before, like for you, and then what your colleagues would think, they are higher. Okay, this is not going to be a research project, although it could be. So thank you all for playing this game. Okay. I'm going to demonstrate some listening or non-listening. I would need can I get a volunteer, someone who's going to play with me for a sec? Who can volunteer with me? I'm going to ask you to share with me something that is important, either a dream or a hope that you have, something you want to do, a plan that you have. Maybe in 3 years you want to backpack throughout Asia, or you want to write a book, or you want to start your own institute, whatever it is. Who would be willing to share a dream with me? Billy, thank you, Billy.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay, so Billy, we're going to have 2 rounds. And I hope you still like me at the end of this. But so Billy, so everybody just pay attention to our interaction. And it's going to take, let's say that the first round, Billy, is going to be like a minute, maybe a minute and a half or two. I'm going to time us, so I know. So Billy, what is a dream or something that is important to you that you would like to share with us?
Sure. So I actually shared this with one of the breakout groups a few weeks ago. So one of my dreams and goals is to sail from Newport to Bermuda in the Newport to Bermuda race.
To sail, that sounds dangerous. Go on.
Yes and no. It can be, but usually it isn't.
Okay, sail. So what else? Sail and like what, with whom or what?
So I mean, I'd love to do it solo, but you know, I'll do whatever it takes to get on whatever boat I can to do it.
Solo, that's a little bit, again, I don't know if you have thought this through, but okay, so solo,
Yeah, I've thought about it a lot.
Okay, I mean, so what else? Are you also planning on building the boat yourself or what?
I'd love to. I've built a couple boats in the past, so I would love to build my own boat, but I don't know if I trust my workmanship enough to sail it across an ocean.
Yeah, I know. Like, what credentials do you have to build a boat?
I have a lot of time in my garage.
Oh, in the garage. Okay, the garage.
Yeah, that's about it.
Okay, thank you. Billy, breathe. Everybody, what did you notice? Just unmute yourselves. And what did you notice in this interaction?
It was cringy.
Why was it cringy, Rachel?
Yeah,
Because it was
cannot help.
Hold on, Kwesi, you're next. Okay, Rachel. Why?
saying Billy was sharing something that he's really passionate about, and you immediately were very critical and skeptical, and then it kind of like just quieted him down. So
Thank you, Rachel. I did. Kwesi, were you going to say something?
No, I was gonna say your responses were not very helpful. It made Billy nervous a little bit on his decision-making skills.
Yeah. Thank you, Kwesi. Billy, how did you feel as we were talking?
I will say I felt good energy at first. Like when we first started talking, you were more latched on to what I was saying. And you sort of lured me into energy, and then you left me flat. After every response, I tried to bring energy, and then just flattened everything. And I said, no matter how much, like if I joked, I smiled, you know, you kind of just, you flattened everything that I brought up.
Yeah. So much so that at some point you were like, I'm done. Like,
Yeah, I didn't know if I should keep talking. I was like, I don't know what else I could say here.
Yeah. Yes. So please, everybody, remember what Billy's saying. At some point, he's like, I don't know what else to say. Like, there's nowhere else to go. So, Billy, my friend, let's do this again. Now we're going to rewind. Like, this is take 2. So it is exactly the same dream. It's exactly the same question. So please pretend that the first one did not happen, if you can, okay? Yes, exactly. And I'm going to put the timer just so we don't go past the 2 minutes. So Billy, tell me about a dream or something, you know, that you want to do that is important to you.
Yeah, so I would love to sail in a boat in the Newport to Bermuda race.
Oh, wow, to sail. You like sailing?
Yeah, I've sailed my entire life. I think the first time I was out in a boat, I was like 6 months old with my parents. So I spent my entire life on boats. And yeah, I love it. I do it as often as I can, which is not nearly as often as I want to.
Hey, Billy, wow. What do you love about it?
Oh man, I guess it's kind of hard to put down like an exact emotion or way it makes me feel. There's just like this internal feeling that makes me so happy when we're out in the water. I guess it could be a combination of the wind and the waves, and I'm usually sailing on the ocean, so the salt, the smell, and the experience. Just really, it's like being, on a good hike on top of a mountain. It's just there's something intangible about the experience for me, which was just awesome and very fulfilling.
Oh, wow. And there's something about it being like you've been doing this for your whole life.
Yeah. Nature versus nurture there. Not sure. My parents definitely pigeonholed me a little bit into it. So, but yeah, it's definitely a huge passion for me.
Oh, wow. So when would you do this?
As soon as I can. Yeah.
So tell me a little bit more about what the idea is.
Yeah, so they hold this Newport to Bermuda race every 2 years. It's organized by the Newport Yacht Club. And generally, there's a bunch of different divisions of professionals and amateurs that do this race. It's a couple hundred nautical miles. And generally, you try to get in with someone who's a little bit experienced, and you try to get on a crew, and you do, the menial tasks for them the first couple of rounds. And then if you have enough money at some point, get your own boat and you captain the boat to Bermuda. But for me, I'll just take the crew experience. I just want to be able to do it.
Oh, wow. Thank you on time. Thank you so
Good
much,
time.
Billy. Okay, peeps, what did you know? Thank you for the heart. William and Drew, we feel it. Eric, Robert, thank you. What did you feel this time? Everybody, what did you notice? Yes, Cassie and then Kwesi.
This one was a lot more positive, and I liked this interaction a lot more. One of my pet peeves is when I talk about something I'm really excited about and people kind of respond negatively. I like people to just be happy for me. So I liked your response this time, and you sounded way more interested, which was nice.
Thank you, Cassie. And also, we got to hear much more. Didn't you learn much more about what he was getting himself into? I did. Kwesi.
I think you didn't just say what I wanted to say, that it was more informative than the first conversation. And Billy was much more relaxed and open to really revealing more about his dream to you. So that was.
Well, thank you, Kwesi. Let's see, Billy, how did you feel? How did it feel too?
Way less awkward.
Yes.
Yeah, way less awkward. Because even in sort of this demonstration standpoint of like, I kind of knew going to the first round, you were either going to engage in good listening practices or bad listening practices. So even like going in with that knowledge, it still was awkward and very flattening the first go around. Second time, having engaging questions and you just having the right, like matching my energy to like my passion for what I was talking about was like really key to just keeping, even though it's sort of a replay of what we did 2 minutes ago. Just a better experience and gave me a more natural energy to be able to answer the questions the way I did.
Thank you. And thank you, Billy, for playing along and for volunteering. We can affect, again, we talk about resonance, but not only resonance, but like how the person is going to react and interact. Like at the beginning, like the first one, Billy felt that trepidation. Like at the end, he was like, there's nothing else to be said. And in the second one, he could have kept going. And I had more questions. So we really open up when we are doing listening that is effective, that is resonant with a person. We can support creativity, passion, all sorts of positive emotions instead of just stopping them and halting them. How many of you know people who are kind of like the naysayers, kind of like I exaggerated at the beginning, and I only also had 2 minutes. And I don't know if you noticed, I grabbed the phone, I was drinking water, I was doing all sorts of things in 2 minutes. But how many of you actually know someone close to you who's a little bit more of a person one? Maybe I see, Anna, that you're saying William is going like this, Robert, like, oh, so many of you are now raising your hand. How many of you recognize that sometimes you are like that? Maybe at home, maybe with a colleague. Sometimes it's like, oh, does it look like that? Right? It kind of looks like that and feels like that for the person who's not being listened to. So thank you so much for indulging me with this. Let me see. Okay. Oh, no, actually, before we do that, I would like for you to think about the importance of listening, and this is giving you cues. And I'm going to add, there's this book by this person, Adam Kahane. He worked in some of the toughest problems in the world, in organizations and in societies, from South Africa during its transition away from apartheid to Colombia during the Civil War, Argentina during the collapse, Guatemala after the genocide, Israel, Palestine, blah, 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 all sorts of countries. He has an endorsement by Nelson Mandela. This breakthrough book addresses the central challenge of our time, finding a way to work together to solve the problems we have created. It is an interesting book. It's called Solving Tough Problems, an open way of talking, listening, and creating new realities. You could actually skip all the chapters and go to the very last one, where he has 10, in his conclusion, he has 10 suggestions. What do you think one of those 10 suggestions is? Thank you, Sophia. Listening. In fact, 3 of the points, one is listen to what is being said. The other one says listen with empathy. The other one is stop talking. That has to do with listening. One whole book for us to recognize how important listening is. I'm just saying. So, little cute here. Did you cut your lip? Shaving, or is the bandage across your mouth evidence you want to listen to me? Because how many times we do a lot of the talking, So let's no. Let's stay where we are. Effective and ineffective listening. What is the upside of effective listening, you all? How about type it in the chat. What is the upside of effective, empathetic, caring, respectful listening? I just think that effective doesn't really say it. Let's see. Thank you, Elizabeth, for relationship building. People feel heard and seen. Connection builds trust. Drew connectedness. Yes, you learn more. Motivating, better decision-making, engagement. And we can go on and on. Thank you. When we are not being effective listeners, what do we miss out on? We're missing out on things. What do we miss out on when I'm not being an effective listener and I'm just like going all over, on top of Billy, just, there's a word that I want to say that is not coming to my mind, but anyway, steamrolling him. What am I missing out on when I am not a good listener? Type it in the chat. Good ideas. Thank you, Robert. Connection, trust. Nuance, Isabel. Getting information. Perspective and experience, feedback, new perspectives. Absolutely. You know what else? Even loyalty. As leaders, if we are not leaders who actually support the people we're leading, we lose their trust, we lose their loyalty. Opportunities, absolutely, Nina. Thank you. New ideas. Okay, I'm going to send you very soon. No, what did I do? Okay. Share screen. I'm sharing my screen. This is the next question, actually. What ineffective listening examples have you witnessed in the workplace? In this place where you are, what are ineffective listening examples? Think about the most current ones. So this is kind of like we're focusing it on the workplace, so not at home, the workplace. I'm going to recreate, I'm going to send you to a room. I'm going to recreate them. I'm going to put you in groups of 3 to 4. 4, 4, 3, 3, 3. This works. I'm going to give you 6 minutes. Like you don't have to go on and on and on with a story. Make it as short as you can. See if everybody can say something. Who's going to start? Whoever has the example readily available. So if I'm with Cassie, Isabel, and Austin, and Cassie's ready to go, Cassie, you go. Okay. See you in a few, everybody.
And are you hoping people will practice good listening then?
We're just talking right now. Just of course, if you can practice listening, but it's not a big conversation. This is just share your example of ineffective listening in the workplace. Here we go. Welcome, everybody. I'm thinking about listening. I'm going to ask you to multitask, which actually cuts the good listening and effective listening in half. But I just put the survey monkey if you wouldn't mind going there while we talk. And you're going to see that it's the same format, like 3 words. Actually, I'm going to stop talking. And I'm going to let you do this for a minute or 2. So I'm actually going to stop the recording again. Oops, I forgot to record that last part, but anyway, so I'm going to just say, if you would please unmute yourselves and say bye to everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Also, thank you, Adriana.
Bye.
Hi, everybody.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.